In the year 2087, a virus swept across the globe, killing every human on Earth. Every man, woman, and child fell victim to the pandemic, except for one. This is the story of the last human on Earth. His name was Jack, and he had been an astronaut before the outbreak. Jack was on a mission to colonize Mars when the virus hit Earth. His team was in constant communication with the ground, but as the virus began to spread, the communications went silent. Jack knew something was wrong but had no idea how bad things had become until he landed back on Earth. The world Jack returned to was desolate and empty. There were no signs of life anywhere. The cities were silent, the streets were empty, and nature had begun to reclaim the land. Jack was alone. At first, Jack tried to find other survivors. He searched every corner of the earth, hoping to find someone, anyone, who had survived the virus. But as the months passed, it became clear that he was the last human on Earth. As he explored the empty cities and towns, Jack began to reflect on the world that had been lost. He remembered the crowded streets, the bustling cities, and the sounds of people going about their daily lives. Now, there was only silence. At night, Jack would sit on a hillside and look up at the stars. He would wonder if there were other humans out there, somewhere in the universe. But as the months turned into years, Jack began to accept that he was truly alone. Without the distractions of modern life, Jack had time to reflect on his own life. He thought about his family and friends, the things he had accomplished, and the things he had left unfinished. He realized that he had been so focused on his career and ambitions that he had forgotten to truly live. As the years went on, Jack became more self-sufficient. He learned to grow his own food, hunt and fish, and find clean water. He even built himself a shelter out of the ruins of an old building. But despite his self-sufficiency, Jack still longed for human interaction. He spent his days talking to himself, imagining conversations with old friends and loved ones. He even wrote letters to his past self, hoping that one day they would be found by someone who could understand what he had been through. As Jack aged, his health began to decline. He realized that he would not live forever and began to worry about what would happen when he died. Who would inherit the earth? Would anyone ever know what had happened to him and the rest of humanity? One day, as Jack was out gathering firewood, he stumbled upon something that would change everything. It was a small, metal box buried in the ground. When he opened it, he found a letter written by a scientist who had been working on a cure for the virus. The letter explained that the scientist had injected himself with an experimental serum that had protected him from the virus. Jack was overjoyed. He finally had hope that he was not truly the last human on Earth. He began to search for the scientist, hoping to find him and the cure. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but Jack was unable to find any sign of the scientist. As he grew weaker, Jack realized that he might not have the strength to keep searching for the cure. He decided to return to his shelter, knowing that his time on Earth was coming to an end. As Jack lay dying, he thought about his life and the world he had known. He thought about the people he had lost and the things he had accomplished. He knew that his story would be lost with him, but he was at peace with that. He had lived a good life, and he had come to accept that he was the last human on Earth, and that his story would be the last chapter of the human race. But as he took his last breath, something miraculous happened. In the distance, he heard a faint sound, the sound of a human voice. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but as the sound grew louder, he realized that he was not alone. A group of survivors had stumbled upon Jack's shelter, drawn to the smoke from his campfire. They were amazed to find him, the last human on Earth, and even more amazed to learn about the cure that he had been searching for. The survivors took Jack's letter and made it their mission to find the scientist and the cure. In time, they succeeded, and the world was saved. As for Jack, he was gone, but his story lived on. His legacy became a symbol of hope and resilience, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity. The world would never forget the last human on Earth, and the lessons he taught us about the importance of life, love, and connection.